Five bizarre accidents. Number 5. Philadelphia boiler explosion. On 31st of July, 1815, in Philadelphia, County Durham, England, an early experimental railway locomotive, Brunton's Mechanical Traveller, blew up. This engine, also known as the steam horse, ran on 4 wheels but was pushed by mechanical feet. This was both the first recorded boiler explosion and the first railway accident causing major loss of life, as 16 people were killed. The accident is not included in many texts because it was on an industrial wagonway or plateway, rather than a public railway. Most boiler explosions caused severe mechanical damage but often only the locomotive crew suffered physically. However, Brunton's locomotive was surrounded, at the time, by a crowd of curious sightseers, who formed the majority of the victims. Number 4. Bouncy Castle disaster. In July 2006, a bouncy castle, with 30 people inside it, broke free from its moorings and took off into the air in a freak gust of wind. It flew 50 feet into the air, turned over, and traveled 150 feet before landing on the ground. The castle seriously injured 13 people and killed 2. An eyewitness described the event thus: "I heard the snapping of tent pegs and a lot of screaming, then the inflatable flew up into the air and bodies were dropping from it. It was just carnage. There were people everywhere lying on the ground. Some had been on the inflatable when it took off, others were hit on the ground." Number 3. Death of Lady Coventry. Lady Coventry, or Maria Gunning, was a celebrated beauty of her time. She devoted herself to applying pasty white makeup and red rouge every day. This was the style of the time. Her husband hated this practice and tried to stop her from doing it, but her vanity prevailed. She probably should have listened to him. Lady Coventry died at the age of 27 from overuse of lead-based makeup. Number 2. Napoleon's Call. Rumor has it that while Napoleon was suffering from a bad cough he accidentally ordered the execution of 1,200 prisoners. His officers had been awaiting orders from the emperor when he was seized by a coughing fit. The emperor exclaimed "Ma sacredx," meaning "my damn cough," or literally "my sacred cough," but I think we know what he meant. His men took his words to be massacratalis, meaning massacre all. This strange accident would top the list if it were proven. However, accounts of the incident vary greatly and many doubt whether this ever happened. Number 1. Boston Molasses disaster. On January 15, 1919, a tank of molasses exploded in Boston's North End. The explosion caused a huge shockwave that was sufficient to knock houses off their foundations. Shards of metal from the tank were found up to 200 feet away. Right after the explosion, this accident took a very strange turn. The tank was filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses. When the tank exploded, the molasses formed a 25 to 30 feet wave that went through the streets of Boston at speeds of around 35 miles per hour. People caught in the wave were either smashed against large objects, or they drowned in the molasses. This strange accident caused 21 deaths and 150 injuries. Rumor has it that, on a hot day in the North End, the air still smells sweet.